Family, what it do? It's your brother E. Once again, here to spread some positivity. Matter of fact, some reality too. So today, this ain't nothing I had scripted. I ain't take no notes. I did try to refresh my memory of one of the stories I'm gonna tell you guys. But this from the heart. I was actually getting ready to go to bed to get ready for work tomorrow. But some just said, like, you need to make this now. So, not here to offend anybody, but somebody need to hear this. Today's message is, God has not forgotten about you. I said again, God has not forgotten about you. I may have did this before, and if I have, it is what it is. But God has not forgotten about you. I know actually globally, everybody's still dealing with the pandemic. We got that going on. People died. I think close to 200,000 almost. Something like that. So many people lost their jobs. People losing their homes. Some people can't afford health care. It is a struggle out here in this world. And if we were to keep our eyes focused on what's going on, it's easy to lose faith and to lose hope and to just conform and go primal and be like animals and do whatever we got to do to survive. But that's not what we have been called to do. God has not forgotten about you. So you got to hold on. You got to hang in there. You got to keep giving your best. You got to keep trying to do the right thing. You got to keep working until you figure this thing out. You can't give up now. You can't give up now, because we need you. But God has not forgotten about you. So what I'll do is give a story about this situation. I give a story about me, and then I give the ultimate story. So the first situation, God come through during that person's lifetime. It was a young man named Joseph. He was 17 years old. His daddy had 12 boys, and he was number 11 of 12. But he was his dad's favorite son, which it ain't good to play favoritism to kids because it creates jealousy amongst them and envy and strife. But nevertheless, he was his dad's favorite son. And his dad made him a coat of many colors, so everybody would know, this is my favorite boy. But what was also good was that God had a special assignment for Joseph. So one day God gave Joseph a dream. And what happened was, in the dream, he was out in the field, him and his brothers, and they was gathering grain. And all of a sudden, his strands of grain stood upright, and his brothers' grain, their bushels, bowed to his grain that was upright. And when he told them the dream, they got even more frustrated with him. They're like, you already dad favorite. Now you saying we gonna end up bowing to you? You see? Sometimes when you got a dream, man, and you share it, it brings more negativity than support. But nevertheless, when it's from God, you can take it to the bank. It's going to come to pass. The second dream he had was that the sun, which represented his father, the moon, which represented his mother, and the stars, which represented his siblings again, all bowed to him. And in the first dream, the bushes represented the brothers bowing to him. It did. And so when he told his family that again, his brothers, again, they went in an uproar. And his dad even questioned him like, so you saying I'm going to bow to you, me and your mama, and your brothers go bow to you, right? But then his daddy had to think about it, because him and his daddy had a relationship with God too. His daddy's story was crazy too. But nevertheless, God had not forgotten about Joseph, and God has not forgotten about you. So what happened was, one day the brothers went out, and Joseph's dad sent him to go check on the brothers. And when they saw him coming, that big old nice coat, you know what I mean? Say you got a mink or a fur, you know what I mean? Looking fresh and fly, you know what I mean? You step off in the club, somebody go, not like that. But this was his brothers. So when they saw him, they planned to kill him. They planned to kill him. So sometimes, even though I know society makes it seem like every family perfect, sometimes you don't get along with your family. And man, we wish it would be different and be better, but sometimes that's just what it is. So if you honestly know you're doing your best to trying to make things work with them, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Maybe it'll be in due time, like how God did with Joseph and his family. So they was going to kill him. But one brother said, nah, we can't kill him because it'll break their heart too much. So what they did, they threw him in the pit. And when they saw this caravan coming by, which is actually his dad's brother descendants, they sold him into slavery. So now Joseph, 17-year-old kid, got a dream from God that he'll be a leader of his family. The love of his father, which makes any young man feel like a man. A mother love is good, but it doesn't compare to a father love for a man. And that's why we need families back. They sold him into slavery, and he went to Egypt. While he was in Egypt, he worked for Potiphar. Potiphar was like the governor of Egypt. And Joseph was so honorable. There we go again. He upright. That's something we need to practice, being upright in life. He was so honorable and worked so hard and was so upright, had so much integrity, that Potiphar put him in charge of everything. He even said, Joseph, you can run the affairs of my house. Only thing you is off limits is my wife. And Joseph, this man so awesome, he honored that. How many of us today won't sleep with the boss husband or won't sleep with the boss wife? Especially if they throwing it at us. Joseph did it. So what she did, she caught him and cornered him one day, and he had his robe, and she said, lay with me today. And he said, ma'am, I can't. Your husband gave me rule of everything in this house. And the only thing he said off limits is you. And I'm going to honor myself, and I'm going to honor God, and I'm going to honor him, and I'm going to honor you by not doing it. And he ran. Sometimes you got to run from stuff that ain't good for you. Sometimes you got to run for people who mean you no harm. And they can call you whatever they want to. But sometimes you got to run so you can save yourself and save your destiny and fulfill your purpose. And when she did, when she was caught with his robe, she lied on him and said he raped her. So when Potiphar gets home and she told him what was what, he ain't really believe her. But off the strength of his position and off the strength that his wife, he just rolled with it. And they sent Joseph to jail. See, had he really did that, they could have offed him. But Potiphar knew what kind of man Joseph was. So when Joseph went to jail, again, he was upright. Innocent man in jail. All this time, all these years, God, you promised me I was going to be a leader. But you let this happen to me. You let my brothers hate me. You let me get thrown in the pit. You let me get sold into slavery. You let this lady lie on me. Now you got me in jail. God, is there a God? Do you really care? If you do, why you let this happen to me? Because God has not forgotten about us. So while he was in jail, the warden noticed the same thing. This man has integrity. This man is upright. I can depend on him. He's truthful. He gets to work on time. He got his clothes squared away. It ain't all off his butt. He treat people with respect. Everybody. He get the job done. He don't try to outdo people, step on toes, backstab people. He try to lift people up, make it a team, as opposed to him getting all the credit. And the warden put him in charge of the jail. Now, Joseph, this is what it said about him. It said the iron was on his feet, because you know they had the iron shackles. And it said his soul started to go into the iron. That's how much he put into whatever environment he was in. He gave his everything. He gave his all. That his soul began to go into the iron. Now here this man is, a prisoner. But God had given him a dream that he'd be like a prince. He is in prison. But God gave him a dream that he'll be like in a palace type situation. A leader, royalty, in charge. But he's the polar opposite of where he was supposed to be. But as I keep saying to you guys, God has not forgotten about you. So what happened was, two men who worked for the Pharaoh, who would be equivalent to our president today, they was put in jail. A butler and a baker. I think because somebody had stolen something from the Pharaoh and it was one of them. So God had given both of them men dreams. And then guess who interpreted them dreams? The foreign slave boy who was falsely accused. And he told one, you're going to be restored to your position. That was the butler, the cupbearer. He drank the juice for the king in case anybody poisoned it. He would be the one to die, the king with it. And then the baker, he didn't want to tell him the interpretation of his dream. But he was the one who stole the stuff. And he was going to get killed for stealing it. You see? That's how it was in Egypt. They didn't play no games. So if they believed he really raped Pharaoh's wife, they would have killed him. But nevertheless, Joseph told that butler, hey man, when you get out, when you go back to your position working for the big man, don't forget about me, man. Get me up out of here. He was like, man, I got you, bro. For sure, I got you. I got you, bro. I ain't gonna forget about you. And guess what? 2 years later, that man had not forgot about Joseph. But God had not. So what had happened was, the Pharaoh himself had two dreams. The first dream, it was 7 cows in the field, all healthy and beautiful, and they were eating. And then 7 scrawny, ugly, nasty looking cows came and ate them. Next, it was grains. I think like 7 stalks of grain, good and plentiful and ripe and ready for pickings. And then 7 came out, scrawny, y'all looking all messed up, black folk, not good, whatever the case, scrawny, that's the word I'm looking for, and ate those. And this had the Pharaoh puzzled. He could not interpret what those dreams meant, but he knew it meant something. So he called all his dream tellers and all his administration. He said, tell me what this dream means. And none of them could figure it out. Guess what though? The butler, he said, Pharaoh, when I was in prison, it was a young man named Joseph who interpreted my dream. Maybe he can help you out. The Pharaoh said, get him here. So they took Joseph, shaved and washed him, put him on some presentable clothes, and they took him to the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh told Joseph his dreams. And Joseph said, Pharaoh, your two dreams has one meaning. Your dream mean for 7 years, there's going to be plentiful harvest. The crops are going to be abundant. Things are going to be good. But immediately following those 7 years of harvest, it's going to be 7 years of famine. So I will recommend that you find a man who can make sure each city or section gather their crops and store it up. So during the 7 years of plentiful, so when the 7 years of famine come, we'll have food. Guess what Pharaoh said? Joseph, you that man. Instantly, Joseph, the slave, falsely accused, prisoner, became the vice president of the most powerful nation in the world at that time. Because God had not forgot about him. Then Pharaoh on the spot gave him a beautiful, gorgeous, loving wife. And they had 2 kids. And he named them Manasseh and Ephraim. And Manasseh meant, God caused me to forget my struggle. And Ephraim meant, God caused me to laugh. You see, and then he was 30 when that happened, so that was a 13-year process. So when God give you a vision, when you know in your mind you meant to do something, and you know in your heart, life may come and kick you in the face. It may knock you down. It may shake your very confidence. It may make you want to give up. It may make you want to check up out of here. It may make you want to take yourself out. That's how we feel. But if God put us here, he's not going to forget about us, and he's going to get us to where we need to be. So I don't know where you at right now in your life. I don't know what the situation may be right now. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't lose confidence in God, if you would just keep taking it one step at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, God is going to get you to where you're trying to go. That's the first story. The second story is my story. Project Boy, born in East Lake Meadows, 1981. Number 7 of 8 kids. Had both parents initially. Then they had they back and forth all throughout my time. Separated. They got back together when I was in 1st grade. Then 9th grade, they divorced for good, and I lived with my dad through high school. During this time, all my dad did was work, and I think he did the best he could. All he knew was to work and provide. But you know, as young kids, we need information on what this life about and how to go through. So if your parents don't tell you, something else gonna tell you. Whether it be your friends, whether it be TV, whether it be music or whatever it is, it's gonna be something or somebody else, right? So I was into my friends, and I was heavy into rap music, and that combination was not good. So graduated high school, barely, and I was a smart kid. School just stopped boring me because of the broken home. I ain't really put no effort into it. Started varsity basketball 10th grade, quit the team because I wanted to get lunch money. Stomach growling, you know. So I didn't make the best decisions, and this lasted all the way up until I was 25, in and out of trouble, running the streets, doing any and everything. And really, I just felt like I was a nothing. I was a nobody, you know, during that time. But when I was younger, I always thought I would be something. Maybe an NBA player, a doctor, a lawyer, something. I ain't all that yet. But what happened was at 25, it was that summer. It was like, man, people was getting killed here, getting killed there. And I'm like, man, it's only a matter of time for somebody to come take me out. Because that's just how it's going. It was like people either getting killed or they're going to jail. Right? So I'm just like, man, this is my future. I kind of just accepted it. And I kind of wanted out because life went here on nothing. That's my brother D. We live in an old filthy neighborhood. The roof in the mama crib had done. My mom had moved back with her. Had done cracked to where it was caving in. The roof was caving in. In the day it was gonna break. Man, I was so sick of life, I'd sleep under it. Cause I was like, take me out of here. Take me out of here. The lights was cut off. No hot water. We had to take cold shower before the sun went down. And light a candle at nighttime. No food in the refrigerator. Nothing but a little styrofoam cup. The one time I gave my mom money to buy food, and then she bit out the rib. And if that was that day, that was in there. Other day it was just a box of baking soda. My brother working at McDonald's. 2 children. I'm working at the car wash. At the landfill as a trash man. At the club on weekends trying to spend some. At the insurance, all these jobs and stuff, trying to make ends meet. And it seemed like it still was never enough. Man, my brother sleeping head and toe in the same bed. And we grown men. I mean, no sense of what life about. But then one day I was out late with my friends. And one of my partners, I don't know how this came about. The girl I was messing with at the time was telling me, you need God. You need to get your life together. My older brother was calling me, you need to read the Bible. All this at the same time. This is how God was working it together for me. Because he ain't forgot about me. And then when we out, we was at a video shoot that night. And my homeboy, some stuff was going on. He said, hey, E, this go in 2 ways. And I already knew. We gonna end up in jail or we gonna end up dead. Come to church with me. I said, Jack, I know you real and you a man of your word and you doing me a favor because there's some other stuff that went on. I'll be there. And I kid you not, one night I was leaving the club. It was pitch black and I ain't gonna even self-incriminate myself. But I made it to that church that night. I went because I said if I go home, I ain't gonna wake up. But this man meant so much to me, I wanted to keep my word to him. Because he had always been out for me if I needed him. And when I did wake up in that church parking lot, they was getting out. That's how much I had slept. But what happened was, it was an older lady and a little young boy, and they both waved at me. It's weird. I felt love at that moment. They didn't say nothing to me. They just waved. And I knew the life I was living. I was like, man, I don't even deserve to be waved at. And they waved at me, man. Man, I just put my car in reverse and I went home. But that, I could not shake that feeling of just that much of love. And I said, man, I gotta have the full of that. So what I did, I asked my mama, I said, Mama, I want you to take me to church Sunday. I want you to drop me off. Because I probably won't go drive myself back. I ain't feel like it. That night before, it was life or death for me. And I was gonna do some stuff I knew it was gonna be the end, one way or another. And before I can do it, the voice of God spoke to me on the inside of me. It wasn't from the outside, it was from the inside. And it sounds so angelic. He said, don't do it. I got better for you. And at first I'm like, man, I'm tripping. I need to, whatever I'm doing, I need to stop. And then he said it again. He said, don't do it. I got better for you. And by this time, I ain't even saved. You know, my brother had been telling me, read the Bible, and the old girl told me I need to get myself together. And she had this magnet on the refrigerator that said, it's something like, if I don't believe in God and I'm wrong, then what do I lose? And if I do, what do I gain? Or something like that. But whatever it was, I was like, man, like all this stuff just working together, did a little summer. And then when he told me that, the second time, I was like, this God talking to me. And I remember when I was a young kid, my mama used to take us to church all the time, far away from the house, like hour and a half, 2-hour drive. And they're like, we never had no gas, and we never had money for food. And one night, we were so hungry. I was like, God, man. I think I was like 7 years old, in the back of the Jeep. Not in the seat, in the back. You know where the trunk is. I said, God, if you would just make it where we can get some food tonight, I'll serve you, I'll give you my life. No lie. We pulled up to the gas station. I think it was like Stop and Go or Pit or Go or something like that. And it was a homeless man gave me a handful of change. A homeless man gave me a handful of change. That was God. And I went to Boston hot dog or something like that. So now I'm 25, 7 to 25. I think all that time I stopped believing in him. God, like, man, God, if you go, how you let her live like this? How you let people just die like that? How you let the little kids like in the neighborhood just drown in pools and folk getting shot? Like, stories of people putting babies in microwaves, not this crazy. I'm like, man, how in the world you really care about us and we living like this? Because he give us free will and he give us the ability to make our own choices. So that's their choices, not his doing. So that third time he told me, don't do it. I got better for you. Man, I broke down, man. I was like, God, if you real, change me. Change my life. Don't let it have to live with nothing. Don't let me feel like I gotta be a crook or a criminal or a second-rate person or whatever I gotta do to survive. Don't let me be that way. Help me be a man, whatever that is. I didn't know what one was. Help me be that. I said, even you can take dirty rags to clean something up. You can clean stuff with dirty rags. It don't even gotta be clean rags. Clean me. Let me clean something. As messed up my life is. And the next day I went to church, and the preacher said, I walked in late, that big old church, and it was perfect timing, because he said, God know your ending before he even gave you a beginning. He know your future before he even will let you be born in your mama. Don't be afraid to try something new. And man, that was it for me. I was sold. Man, I gave my life to God that day. Then the next day, I went and started my career. Now, almost 14 years later, God has took good care of me. I ain't rich, but thank God I'm able to pay my rent, get a vehicle, have food, and enjoy my life here and there. Even help other people at times, and people have helped me. And thank y'all for helping me. But this me coming from being a trash man, pushing poop, trash all day, with some dudes, man, they were some haters. You know, that when they found out I was going to do my career, man, they scratched my car up. They told me I wasn't going to be there. Do I think I'm better than them? All this stuff. I'm like, man, do y'all want to do this for the rest of y'all life? And you got the nerve to be mad at me? Bruh, we don't even got no food in the refrigerator. And you got the nerve to be mad at me? Man, I ain't got no more words. But, again, you got to get away from that negativity. You got to be like an eagle. Fly over that stuff. Even a plane, when it takes off, don't take off with the wind. It takes off against it. So it can get lift. You ain't always got to go with the crowd. You ain't always got to go with the flow. You ain't always got to try to fit in. You got to be who God created you to be. And most times, that's going to be against everything that's going on in the world.